great pleasure to be here. I'm Samuel ICanWin, ICanWin. Looking forward to tonight's Impact Show. I hope you have your questions at the ready. Now, tonight's going to be a very, very interesting evening, not only because we've got the live show and we're going to be adding so much value to you guys through means of the Impact Show, but for several other reasons. One of the reasons is because I'm going to be sharing with you guys a little concept which has been bugging me. It's been bugging me. It's just something that's been on my mind for the last couple of days, and something that I've realized will really, really help people to move forward in this current climate. So I'm going to be sharing that with you guys in a little while. Now, if you are looking forward to tonight's show, let me know. All right, just put in the chat, looking forward to tonight's show. If you have been on the Impact Show before, if you've been on one of our live shows before, if you've got massive value from one of these shows before, just write in the chat value. Okay. And if you're someone who's brand new, you've never been on one of our live streams before, you've never seen the amount of value that people can get in this slightly over an hour. Usually we go for an hour and 25 minutes, hour, 15 minutes. If you're that guy, if you're that lady, if you're that gal, if you're that person, just write in the comments brand new. Let us know who's actually engaging with us so we can have a really good idea of who's going to get massive value tonight. All right. And as I mentioned before, I'm Samuel ICanWin, ICanWin. I'm your host tonight on the show. I'm extremely looking forward to tonight's show for a number of reasons. But like I said, one of those reasons is because of the value that I know that I'm going to be sharing with you guys when I break down this little concept in a little while. Now, we're going to leave the phone lines. We're going to get them open in around 4 or 5 minutes. But before we do that, that will give me enough time just to kind of get the housekeeping out of the way, and then side by side with the housekeeping, also give you guys an opportunity to get your questions ready in order for your questions to be thrown into the chat box, which is what we're looking forward to on tonight's show. We are extremely looking forward to the comments that are going to be coming out from tonight's show. It's always good to see people's comments on these shows, especially because they're live and especially because new things are happening. So first and foremost, let me get into why we are actually doing the Strategy and the Storm, the Impact Live show. And then straight after we do that, I'm then going to go into a little bit more about housekeeping. And then straight after the housekeeping, I'll share with you guys some significant value through means of one of the concepts I wanted to share with you guys. And then straight after sharing with you guys that concept, I'm then going to open up the phone line. So that should take us about 3 or 4 minutes. So first and foremost, for any person who's absolutely brand new and has never been on one of these live Q&As, these strategies in the storm before, the first thing I want you to know is that this show is for you. Okay, this show was not created for me. This show was not about Samuel, doing more. This was actually about me giving the community an opportunity to move forward in their property journeys because of the fact that we were going through some very, very interesting times. So, when the announcement of the lockdown took place, when also the announcement of non-essential work being restricted, I had a number of my contacts in the property community who had specific kind of properties, generally pubs, commercial properties, etc., who for some reason, it's obvious, but because of what was going on, basically they were unable to move forward in their property business currently. So as a direct result, I had a lot of people, my coaching clients, I had people that know me, people that hadn't even met me before, but who had been given my contact details, reaching out to me and asking me for help, asking me to support them, asking me if I understood how this thing can blow over, when it will blow over, etc. So I was just getting a load of questions coming my way, which isn't bad. It's just it's the way things generally work with me anyway. So what I did is I said to myself, well, look, how can I help these people? How can I actually help all of these people? I don't want to be the person who's saying he wants to help but not really helping. And then me and my team, we put our thinking caps on together, and we basically came up with the idea of running a live Q&A every single week. And the purpose of this Q&A is to help you. So like I said, this show is for you. So again, if you have questions, in a moment we'll open up the phone lines. You can phone in, you can share your questions, share your dilemma, and we will strategize together. That's what I generally do with coaching clients I work with. That's what I generally do with my own team, etc., etc. So if you're in property and you haven't connected with me before, that's who I am. I'm Samuel ICanWin, ICanWin. I'm a property strategist, and I'm passionate. I'm extremely delighted when I get the opportunity to help people move forward in their property journey. And obviously it has to be feasible. So this is another reason why we started doing a show, because it wasn't feasible with people just contacting me out of the blue, but it becomes more feasible when we have this kind of a setup where we can jump online for a period of time and just add value to people. So that's our hope, that's our intention, that's what we do, that's why we do it, and we're here to do it for you guys today as well. So I'm looking forward to tonight's show. I hope you're looking forward to it too, and I will basically jump into the disclaimer. Okay, so just very, very quickly, just so you guys know, you know, this is not going to be financial advice on this show. Okay, this is not going to be recommendations for you to go and do necessarily. What we will be sharing with you guys is what we perceive as best practice if we were in your shoes. So this is what we would do if we were in your predicament. This is what I would do if I was in your predicament. And from the amount of value that people have got over the last 5 weeks that we've been running the live show, it sounds like what I would do is usually a really good thing to do. So I'm just throwing that out there again on the show tonight. If you're the kind of person who wants that support, who wants that help, who wants to sit with someone who strategizes with hundreds and at times even thousands of property people to help them move forward, then this is the show for you. So there's the disclaimer. Also, that's the reason why we run the show. Last but not least, housekeeping. If you know you're going to get value on this show tonight because you've been on one of our shows before, what I want you to do is hit the like button, okay? By hitting the like button, you are saying, I like this content, okay? And it's that simple, nothing else, okay? You're saying, I like this content. Now, why might you want to say you like this content? For a very, very simple reason, so that the YouTube algorithm can tell other property people, other people out there in the world that this is some good content and it's valuable for them. Now, I don't ask anybody to pay me in order to jump on these Q&As, these strategy in the storm sessions. So because I'm not asking for anybody's funds or any revenue as a direct byproduct of me doing this, one thing I will ask is for you guys to support the video, okay? Support the video. If you're getting value from the video, feel free to share the video. And the best way you can do that is by liking, sharing, and adding the factor of hitting subscribe, okay? And all three of those things you can do. All three of those things, you know, take nothing for you to do except for a moment to press the like button, hit the subscribe button, and also click share and share it with other people in your community. So without further ado, housekeeping's done. Without further ado, disclaimers done. Without further ado, we're ready to go. We've explained why we're running the show. So let's go. All right. So what I'm going to do at this point, I'm going to actually open up the phone lines. Okay. So you guys can call in with your questions. And if you have any questions, feel free to just call in the number above that's going across over the top of the banner, 0330-606-0403. And the access code is there too. Utilize the access code in order to get access to the show. Now, one of the things I will share with you guys, just so that there's clarity, if you are calling in, please, when you call in, focus on the call. Okay, and the reason I'm saying focus on the call is because that's how you'll get the best value out of the call, by focusing on the call. Okay, we've had weeks where people are basically calling in, but they're watching the show because they're getting so much value from the show, and there's nothing wrong with that. That's great. But just to get massive value, what you need to do is focus on the call. Okay, make sure you're actually listening to what's on the call, because when the team take you off hold and allow me to speak to you, you want to obviously be able to know that I'm speaking to you. So that's my little bit of advice in that regards as well. All right, now with all of that said, what I'm going to do at this juncture, I'm actually going to share with you guys the concept that I have been toying with, and I want you guys to understand in this particular climate. Okay, so without further ado, let's do that. Let's jump to how should we do this? Yeah, let's do it on the board. Let's do it on the board so you guys can get all of the view up and running. All right, cool. So yeah, I'll meet you at the board. All right, guys, so what I want to do is I just want to basically break this concept down to you. It's a concept, like I said, that over the last couple of days I've really been thinking about and thinking, okay, how does this apply to other people in the property community, and how can they get value from this? I've been getting value from this concept, but I want to share the concept with the wider community, with people on the live, people who are following me and my team, in order for them to get massive value in their property dealings as well. So this is the concept. It's not a challenging concept, very simple concept, but it's a concept to help you move forward in your property journey. So we're going to share it like this, okay? So the first thing in terms of this concept, there's two sides to this concept. The first thing is resources, okay? Resources, okay? And the second thing, which is powerful about this concept, is climate, okay? So throughout the last 5 weeks, where a lot of turmoil has been taking place in property, in certain circles, people are saying they don't know what to do, they don't know how to move forward in terms of their property journey. And as a direct byproduct of not knowing what to do or not knowing how to move forward, what a lot of people have done is they've basically said, look, I'm not going to do anything. You've got so many people choosing to sit on their hands, as they call it, which basically means not doing anything. And because they're sitting on their hands, what's basically happening is they're not making any progress in their property business, and they're just waiting until all of this stuff pans over. Now, one of the things you have to realize is in certain kinds of climate, things don't just pan over. What happens is things change, things evolve, things shift, okay? And that's exactly what's happening right now. So just to give you an idea of some of the things that are changing, you know, these, we can just write these down here, changes. We've got the whole furlough process, okay, which is one massive change taking place right now, okay? Obviously, this week we had the BBLs being released. If you don't know what BBLs are, they are the bounce back loans, okay? So the government is now offering bounce back loans to people with businesses. So property people, perk your ears up, because this might be something that could potentially relate to you. So the reason I want to share this in, I'm even going to add a few other things. Obviously, we've got the obvious, okay? We've got lockdown, okay? And besides lockdown, we've got a definition of essential versus non-essential work, okay? Now, for some of you might be looking at these things and thinking, oh, this doesn't make any sense. Like, why do these things play any part, or why are they any relevance? What I want to share with you is each and every one of these changes that have been taking place have a byproduct on your property business. Each and every one of these things that have been taking place are going to have an effect on you in your property activity. So if you're one of those people that are brand new, you're just starting out, write that in the comments, I'm brand new. If you're one of those people that are more advanced in your property journey, write that in the comments, I'm more advanced. And then that way I can get a feeling of how I can actually share this with you in a context that will really be clear and freely flowing to you, okay? But just in terms of the simple sense, when the lockdown was announced, that had an effect on the property business, okay? That had an effect on the property industry. Okay, now you may have seen that in certain ways or not. So for example, on one of the previous live shows, I spoke about how we had a specific tenant who was quite reluctant to pay. We basically put in place a certain strategy, which we actually got from Stephanie Taylor, who's on Facebook. Again, you can reach out with Stephanie Taylor, HMO Heavens, and kind of find out what that strategy was. But because we applied that strategy and we made some modifications, those modifications I shared on last week's live stream, and all I asked the guys in the chat to do was to write massive value. They wrote massive value several times. As a result, I gave them the modifications that we added to Stephanie Taylor's approach in order to guarantee what we were going to do. And then as a result, this hesitant payer, this hesitant this non-compliant, or she wasn't necessarily non-compliant, she used to pay her rent, but she would take time in one of the HMOs. She would be reluctant, she would be a procrastinative payer. So this procrastinative payer paid instantly, and I believe that was as a byproduct of us utilizing the framework we got from Stephanie Taylor, but also modifying it with the modifications we made. Now, why is this important? This is important because lockdown played a specific impact in terms of our property business, with tenants saying, oh, we're at home, there's nothing we can do, okay? If you listen to, I think, our first or second ever live stream that we did the moment lockdown was announced, one of the things I shared in that was when I had one tenant in a HMO of 6 people message me and say, none of us are going to pay rent because of what's going on, and landlords have got some kind of amenities, they've got privileges right now, so utilize those privileges. I messaged those guys right back and said, no, that's not how it works, okay? Now, the reason why I have to be so proactive is because I understand that we're in a particular kind of climate, okay? And because of the particular kind of climate we're in, if I don't respond, okay, to each of these things appropriately, because there's a difference between reacting and responding, and that's a key concept for you guys to also understand, okay? Responding and reacting are two different things. Okay, now many people in different industries, in property, in different things, respond, and some people, the majority of people, react. okay? And if you're a reactor, one of the things you'll find is that the climate dictates what's going on for you. All right, so I'm going to break down the three climates and the three resources I want to talk about. Okay, so I'm going to call this superior. Okay, the superior climate. Okay, then I'm going to call this the normal climate, and the last one I'm going to call abnormal climate. Okay, and then when we speak about resources, we're basically talking about something very, very similar as well. I'm going to put this back on the other side. So essential versus non-essential. Okay, and this is all to do with work. So this is another point, this another point, this another point, and I'm gonna use these to build in what I'm talking about as well in a moment. So in terms of resources, we end up in three different categories with this world as well, and most people don't understand this. But again, this is, if you got a notepad and pen, you need to be writing this stuff down. You need to be taking screenshots or something, because this is the stuff that will shift your mindset so that you can start making more money in abnormal climates. Okay, but this is just to help you. So in terms of resources, we have superior resources. Okay, we then have normal resources, and obviously you've guessed it, we then have also abnormal resources. All right, now you might be looking at this and thinking, okay, wow, this is interesting, but why? Where does this? What does this mean for me, and how does this help me? Like, what does this mean for me? And this is exactly the concept I want to break down to you guys. Now, again, let's go all the way to the beginning. All right, some people respond, most people react. Remember that, okay? And remember which one you want to be doing. You don't want to be reacting to scenarios and situations. You want to be responding to scenarios. Now, in terms of resources, generally there's three different types of resources you can have. You can have superior resources in any climate. You can have normal resources, or you can have abnormal resources. Now, I'm going to use money just to help you understand what I'm talking about, okay? Because money is not exactly what I'm talking about, but money is one of the factors that are what I'm talking about. And if I use money, it's going to be very easy for you to just, oh, I get it, okay? So in a normal climate, someone might have superior resources. So we're talking about a normal climate, someone with superior resources. Now, what might superior resources might be? Superior resources might be you having £3 million in cash in your bank under general normal circumstances. Okay, so in a climate which is normal, someone with £3 million as part of their war chest, ready to go, ready to buy properties, ready to move forward, ready to do stuff. This kind of person, okay, apologies, I'm being told by the team that I need to speak a bit louder. Okay, the volume probably dipped because of the fact that I'm standing up. So guys, with the audio, let me know if the audio is good enough. All right, so basically, with someone with £3 million liquid inside of their bank, that person may be deemed to have superior resources as it pertains to measuring that person with anyone else in what we call a normal climate. Okay, now secondarily, let's say someone who just works a job. Okay, so because they just work a job, they don't have much savings. Let's say their savings are £20,000, £30,000. They I don't want to use the term average, because I don't think any human beings are average, but let's just say their resource base, their financial resource base is normal. Okay, so by financial resource base being normal, what we're talking about is this particular person has normal resources financially. They might have 20,000 in the bank, they might get a £3,000 a month salary. So that, let's just generalize and say that's a normal set of resources. So we've got superior resources, £3 million available. We've got normal resources, i.e. 20,000 available with a 3K a month salary. And then we've got abnormal resources. Now, the abnormal resources are people that are what we might say subpar as it pertains to their resources, to their finances. So let's just give a real clear example. Let's say you've got a human being, okay, who's not employed, okay, or they are employed and they've just been made redundant, and their severance pay, their redundancy payout was not very big. Let's say their redundancy payout was like 2 grand, or let's be a bit nice. Let's say their redundancy payment was 20K. All right, but although their redundancy payment was 20K, they don't have a job anymore, so they don't have a residual income coming in anymore. Okay, now why might this be interesting? Because someone with abnormal resources, as we've just defined it, they have in savings, in liquidation, the same amount of savings that someone with normal resources has. The only difference is that someone with the normal resources has that residual £3,000 a month coming in. Now, obviously, that person will have expenses, so that might just look like £1,000 of disposable income every month. By the end of the day, they have a residual component to their income. All right. Now, this is going to be why this is important. In a normal climate, someone with superior resources can be deemed as superior. Okay? I want you to write that down. In a normal climate, someone with superior resources may be deemed as superior. Okay? They may be able to take more superior action. Okay? They may be able to buy properties at a particular price because they've got the £3 million liquidated with them. I hope this makes sense. Okay? Now, if what I'm saying makes sense, I want you to write in the comments, make sense, okay? Or just write MS, okay? Make sense, all right? Because where we're going, I need you guys to grab this, or I want you guys to grab this so you can take more advantage in this current property climate, okay? If you don't grab this, that's you, okay? But me and my team are using this and have been using this in order to move forward, okay? So if this makes sense, just write in the comments, make sense in the chat. So, like I was saying, in a normal climate, someone with superior resources, okay, may be able to activate superiority in their property activity, in their purchasing power, in their acquisition power, etc. All right. Now, here's where what this concept is all about starts to help you. Okay. And I'm going to explain one other conundrum before I get into that so that you guys really see this really clear. In a superior climate, okay, so what is a superior climate as an example? An example of a superior climate is when it's a seller's market. Okay, a superior climate is when I could buy any property and in 3-4 weeks I can sell that and make money. Okay, a superior climate is when I'm in a position where everything is bountiful, everything is plenteous, everything is profitable. Okay, I can make mistakes on a property deal and make money. That's a superior climate. Okay, now the reason why a superior climate is important is because in a superior climate, someone with superior resources can't do much more than anyone else. Okay, in a superior climate, in a climate where everything is bountiful, everybody's making money, someone with lots of money isn't much further ahead than anybody else. Okay, I want you guys to understand this. And look, when you understand this concept, you're then going to understand why rich people get richer. Okay, and I'm going to say it to you like this. Why rich people generally tend to get richer. The percentage, the growth spurt of wealth that excels when there are abnormal climates, abnormal circumstances is way beyond the growth spurts, the acceleration of wealth in normal climates and in superior climates. Okay, so if this makes sense, write make sense in the comments. Okay. Now, what do I mean? And let me break this down for you. In a superior climate, someone with superior resources is not much further ahead than anybody else because it's a superior climate. It's easy to make money in that climate. It's easy for anyone to build their wealth in that climate. In a normal climate, someone with superior resources can stand out. Okay? And the reason they can stand out is simply because they have access to some superior resources. Now, again, guys, this doesn't have to be money. This could be anything. This could be opportunities. If you're running successful marketing campaigns, this could be property opportunities. Okay, this could be a power team. Your superior resources may just be your power team. Okay, if you've built a successful property power team, we've got our program Team 10, where we've been teaching people for years, like how to build a successful property power team. Like, it doesn't matter whether we're talking about money, whether we're talking about power teams, whether we're talking about other things. The point is, even if it's framework, even if you've got a superior framework, the way you deal with clients in terms of properties is different. It's superior. All of these resources are things I'm talking about. Okay, so I'm not just talking about money. Let's please get that clear. But the point I want you guys to understand, and here's the concept that I'm going to share with you guys. In a normal climate, superior resources puts you ahead. In a superior climate, superior resources doesn't put you much ahead. Okay, but in abnormal climates, people with normal resources can actually be at an extreme advantage. Okay. Now, one of the things you may not have realized, okay, you might think that we're currently in a normal climate with just a few changes taking place. What I want you to understand is don't look at it like that. Because the moment you look at it like that, which is how most people are going to look at it, they're going to be reacting rather than responding, because they're not going to realize we're in a different climate. We're under a different kind of framework. Things are different. Things have changed. Okay? So we're not in a normal climate right now. We're in an abnormal climate. And these changes are part of the fruit. Okay? They're part of the fruit, the product of the abnormal climate we're in. So the point I want to make to you is, if you only have at best normal resources, even if I keep it real, even if you have abnormal resources in this abnormal climate, okay, you are now in a leveled playing field. Okay? And lots of people don't understand that about this climate right now. Lots of people haven't worked this out. Lots of people have not recognized that right now, I'm actually probably in the best scenario and situation in terms of my property investing in the last decade. Okay? And the reason why is because I now have a leveled playing field. And this leveled playing field has been created by the climate shifting to an abnormal climate, and thus me being perceived with my normal resources as in a better position, in a better predicament to actually take action. All right. So guys, I'm happy to take any questions on this stuff as well. Okay. And again, like I'll build into this stuff before I go on. So I'm happy to take questions on this. Feel free to write them in the comments, or if you're going to call in about that. But the reason I wanted to share this with you, if we go into the changes that are taking place, this is really going to help people. These changes, the furlough process, this is going to have an effect on people that are reacting. So if you're someone who's responding and you understand the leveled playing field I'm talking about here, even with normal resources, you're going to be able to take advantage and move forward in your property business because of the abnormal climate. The same with the bounce back loans. If you understand what's really going on with these bounce back loans, you're going to be in a position to respond instead of react and take advantage of an abnormal climate, even with normal resources again. Same with the lockdown. If you're under this lockdown currently and you understand about, okay, these are the normal resources I have, they've just leveled the playing field, I can now respond in a different way, I'll let these guys react, and obviously because we're in an abnormal climate, I'll be able to take advantage. Same with every other factor on here. Okay, so these changes are just fruits and byproduct of the shift from a normal climate into an abnormal climate. And my encouragement to you is, you might think, oh, I've only got normal resources, there's not much I can do. I've only got normal resources, there's not much I can buy. I've only got normal resources, there's not much I can say, there's not much marketing I can do. Guys, my encouragement to you is to start thinking about how your normal resources in this abnormal market are going to basically put you massively ahead. Okay? And this is how it works, guys. It doesn't work any other way. This is how it works. This is how the rich get richer in seasons and the poor continue to get poor. Okay? Or stay the same. Which the problem is, if you're staying the same in a world where people are affluently increasing, then obviously it's like you're moving backwards. All right, so I'm going to come back to the desk and let's push forward with questions in the chat as well as any of the callers that are coming in. All right, guys. So, with that being said, what I want to do is open up the phone lines. Like I said, numbers are up there. Both the call-in number as well as we also have the access code on there. Feel free to just phone in, or if you guys have questions on the chat, feel free to throw your questions into the chat. I'm going to have a look on the chat in a moment and then hopefully see if we have got anybody who has any questions. Now, first thing I'd say is, if you got value from the concept I just shared, hit like. Okay, hit like, let other people get value the same level, if not more, because obviously some people will listen to that and get different gems than what you got. Okay, but if you got value from that share, hit the like button, share this video with other people, let other people understand what's actually taking place right now in this current climate so that they can move forward as well. All right, so I'm looking on. Okay, so the team's told me there's no calls coming in right now. So if you do want to call, the telephone number is open. Feel free to call through. We are happy to take your questions today. And then side by side with that, if you have questions, feel free to throw them into the chat. We've got quite a few people watching. So guys, if you have any questions, in terms of your property journey, throw them in. Let's start the strategy in the storm. Let's help you guys move forward. Okay. So guys, anyone with any questions, feel free to throw those questions in the chat or jump on the phone and let's jump into those questions. All right. So guys, whilst you're doing that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to encourage you one more time to hit the like button, hit subscribe, and also hit the bell notification so you can stay up to date with everything we are doing. All right. So the team said there's a call coming through. Give me one moment and I'll grab this call. Okay. Let's see if we can get into this. Okay, good evening. 999.
Hey, good evening, Samuel. It's Andrew.
Good evening, Andrew. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you?
I'm really well. I'm really, really well. How you keeping?
Yeah, mate. I've really, I've been busy. As you just stated on your little in your session, I've basically made the most of this opportunity and really kind of, use as much resources. So, as you said, I'm trying to make the most as the best I can during lockdown.
Fantastic, fantastic. Really great to hear that. I've seen quite a few things you've been doing. I think I even mentioned some of the stuff you've been doing last week on the live show. We had someone talking about they have a HMO and they had one tenant in their home who was an NHS worker and they wanted to let out the rest of the rooms, but they didn't know how to. And I mentioned that obviously Andrew over at Holgate Homes is doing something similar where basically you're focusing just on that market. So what's your question, Andrew? How can we help you for tonight?
Yeah, no. So basically, one of my main questions is, I'm kind of in the opposite problem as most people are.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually have 45 contractors to accommodate.
Yep.
And I don't have enough properties.
Yep.
So obviously I'm looking to, acquire more property. The main question I'd basically love to ask is how would you, strategically systemize this to make it more passive rather than me making it more, changing my time and doing it myself? What kind of tips and advice would you do to make this more passive, especially in today's climate when everybody, is very much at home and I can't always be these properties?
That's a fantastic question. So for those of you who are watching, I assume you can all hear Andrew because the team have said that you can. Let me know if you can't hear Andrew. Andrew's just basically said that he has the opposite problem to most people right now in this current climate. Andrew's basically shared that he has 45 contractors that he's trying to find accommodation for them. And his question is, how do you systemize the process so that he is not basically trading his time for money, but he has a process which basically works for him rather than him working for it? Is that a good summary, Andrew?
Yeah, 100%.
Excellent.
I have some properties, but then obviously I'm slowly trying to acquire more, but I can't do everything. So I've been trying to delegate stuff, but at the same time, I don't want to exchange so much of my time with this kind of big project because, it's a very, very good problem to have. So obviously, what tips would you advise me to do to really maximize my time with the kind of situation I'm in?
That's perfect. So I'm gonna give you 3 things just to help you move forward. And the reason why is because this is gonna be of value to other people as well massively. There's gonna be some people who are watching this who they potentially might not have your issue right now. They might not have the problem of having too much supply right now, or too much demand. But although they might not have that problem right now, this is still going to be a great answer for people moving forward who want to develop their business and do more in their property journey.
Yeah.
So the first thing I'm going to start with is collaboration. Okay, collaboration is the most underutilized facility in property businesses from what I've seen. Okay, you get so many people talking about education, so many people talking about having the right mindset, so many people talking about, accountability and support, and all of that stuff is very important. But in order for your business to go from standing still to growth, what you need to do is collaborate. You need to bring other people into the business. So when I say bring other people into the business, it doesn't necessarily mean start joint venturing. It doesn't mean necessarily start employing new staff, but it's looking at what are the tasks which are the highest income generating tasks and basically breaking that down. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the second point in order to help you with the first point. So the key is collaboration, okay? But we're going to give you the second point first. So first thing I'd advise you to do is what I'd call a task map. Okay, task mapping. So you can do that very easily. The way you do that, you just get a massive A3 sheet of paper, and what you do on that is you just write down every single task, every single activity that takes place in your business. Okay, every single task, every single activity that takes place in your business. And then what you start doing is you go through color coding them. So you will take whatever colors you've got. Like here, you can see I've got colors right next to me. You might have pink for the high income tasks. You might have orange for the tasks which make some money, but they're not really the most important one, and they might not even be the ones you really want to be doing yourself. They're not the most luxurious. Then you take green. These might be the tasks where, these tasks, they don't generate us any income, but they have to be done. Okay, so that might be, because I know you operate slightly in service apartments as well. So the green kind of task, for example, just so you get real clarity on it, might be the linen changing. Okay, now, as a direct byproduct, changing linens, etc., it doesn't generate any income. But although it doesn't generate income, it levels up your service. And because your service is at a high standard, that keeps your income, it maintains your income. So it's a maintenance task rather than an affluence task, okay? And then you might have your last color, like a yellow, and say, okay, well, look, these are tasks which make us absolutely no money, but they have to be done, okay? So that might be reconciliation of your accounts, for example, at the end of every week, at the end of every month, whatever. That might be writing to all of your previous clients and saying, thanks for having us stay at Holgate Homes. We look forward to you guys coming back. If ever you want to come back, contact us directly rather than through the portal, so that we can start to build our own personal relationship, for example. Okay, so the first thing is collaboration. The second thing is to do a task map, okay, and map out all your tasks. Now, here's the key. When you map out all your tasks, you now have a whole business plan on a piece of paper. And a lot of people don't realize that. So because you have the business plan on a piece of paper, what you can now do is start asking yourself, which of these tasks can I leverage the skills of someone else? So we've got a video which we posted some time ago called Why They're Rich and Why They're Poor. And I'll talk about that video probably at the end of this as well. And on that video, one of the things I was talking about is one of the core concepts that help wealthy people to keep getting wealthier in all climates, not only the climates I spoke about on the whiteboard, but in all climates. So one of the key things you might want to think about doing is, okay, now I've got my task map done. Now I know every single task and activity that takes place in my business. Now I want to start identifying some key collaborators, some key assistants, and then potentially, depending on where you're at in your business and how much revenue you're making, some key employees. Okay, so they're the three kind of levels you want to work with: collaborators, assistants, and then depending on where you're at in your business, you bring in the third string, which is employees. So what do I mean by a collaborator? A collaborator might be where you've got 45 people who need to be housed. If, for example, all 45 of those people were coming from one particular company or one particular construction, then what you might do is you might say to yourself, okay, well, what I can do very easily right now is I can start collaborating with other service accommodation providers who are in need of basically filling their houses right now. And we could start talking about something very creative in terms of how you generate a revenue off using their stock, for example. Okay, so that's just an example. But those are the kind of things. So the first two things, the collaboration, the reason you're going to do that, or the way you're going to do that, the way you're going to map that out is by doing the task map. And then the third thing is the identification of key players who you can work with in order to get that done successfully. So does that help? Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
Excellent. We've got another caller, but just before I get you off, Andrew, any other thing you've kind of struggled with that you think, okay, can I get a little help on this as well in this current climate? Because I know that you were one of the first people I saw shifting quite well, which is one thing I would say I commend you for. Obviously you were building your
Yeah.
business. You was kind of at an early stage in January when you came over at Canary Wharf Pin and presented. So being at an early stage in your business with what 4 or 5 deals at that time, and now transitioning into a place where
Yeah.
you've radically kind of changed your brand, or developed your brand in a particular niche. So any other things that you're kind of really challenged by at this time?
Yeah, I mean, basically, just very quickly, obviously, from when you saw me back in January when I presented, I had, a couple of properties, let's say 7 or 8, but now I've actually scaled to about 20 to 22 properties. So
Good.
if there are there any kind of apps or kind of devices that's quite good to recommend to myself and even to the people listening
Yeah.
to easily systemize these things instead of having like a handwritten, because first of all, I'm colorblind, so if I had a highlighter, I'd probably mix it up. But if there's some sort of
I like
app
that.
or software that can tell us what's important and what's not, it'll be really, really nice if you're able to share that information.
All right, cool. Well, look, I'll speak to the team and we'll put something together. I know we've already been working on a video on the 10, I think it's 10, but basically the best property apps that we currently use in our business. So we'll look at doing that and developing that in the future as well, for the community to be able to get value from that. In terms of the colorblind thing, make something happen. Think of how you can make it work, how you can get around that. Definitely. But again, big kudos to you, big congratulations to you to shift from 4 or 5 properties to 20 properties in the current climate. It's a testament, and a lot of people think it's not possible. So this is the reason why we're doing the live show, to help people understand it is possible. You just got to keep going. You got to pivot when things change. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%, definitely more opportunity. Well, thank you so much, Samuel. Appreciate your time for answering my question.
Likewise, Andrew, and thanks for calling in. All right, guys, so we've got another caller on. I'm going to shift to caller number 2, which is 697. Number looks familiar. So let's see if I'm right. Good evening, caller number 2.
Hi, Samuel. It's Timmy.
Hi, Timmy. How you doing? I thought the number looked familiar.
I'm good. Yeah, good memory. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you for calling in. You happy for everyone to hear what you've got to ask and also the answers I'm going to be giving you? Excellent.
Yeah,
All right. So shoot away, Timmy. Let us know how we can help you on your property journey.
Yes. So it's along the lines of the deal sourcing and valuing properties accurately.
Yep.
So obviously, as you know, I'm in my early stage learning from you and just the resources available.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about that.
It's all good.
So basically, on some of the houses that I have tried to value, I'm finding that there's like wide ranges. So especially in this market, I mean, I have a few people, a few landlords or homeowners that have expressed interest in wanting to sell, around 7 now.
That's good.
And I'm at a place where I'm like, okay, I want to obviously give an accurate estimation, but where I'm seeing such wide ranges and sometimes there's even 0.3 miles away, there's not too many comparable like-for-like sales. I guess I'm wondering, like, do people just try to guess at like a mean or an average, or go for like the lowest case? I guess I'm just struggling to see how to accurately value properties in those type of situations.
No, that's cool. So basically, going back to the concept I shared, I'm sure everyone can hear Timmy, so I don't have to go through everything he said. But going back to the concept that I shared earlier about the different climates that people are in, what you have to remember is right now, because we are in abnormal climate, what you're going to have to do is things slightly different. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to encourage you to do, I think I mentioned this to you before already anyway, is to go and watch the property comparables video that we did on the channel. I will try and see if I can get someone in the team to basically put that in the chat, and then that will be helpful for you because
I did watch that one though.
Excellent. How did you find that in terms of what we're talking about?
It was helpful. I might have missed something maybe, but yeah, I did remember watching it, and I tried to follow the few of the steps, but I think I still, in relation to some of these inquiries that's come through, it still seems a bit tricky. But I don't know, it might be that I've missed something.
Okay. So that's cool. That's cool. So I'm gonna go through a process with you anyway, on the call, just to help you basically realize what you can do, and then at the same time, hopefully, anyone else who's struggling with the same thing, this will hopefully help them as well. Um, let's see if I can do this quickly. Cool. All right. So first and foremost thing, where are you looking? Because what I want to do is I want to try and work with you on this rather than just say do this, do this.
Where am I looking? You mean
Yeah, like what location, what area, etc. You said you got roughly 7 sellers, so
Yeah, yeah.
where's that
I'll
activity
give one
happening?
example. Yeah, one for example is in North London.
Mm-hmm.
In I think it was Haringey. Let me just quickly get it up. 1 second.
It's all good. All right. So the good thing is this: the link's been put into the chat as well. So anyone who needs to go watch that, you can go watch that. Property comparables done properly. That was a video I recorded for one of my coaching clients, which then became a YouTube video because they asked me about how to do the values properly. And side by side with that, again, guys, if you haven't hit like, hit subscribe, and also hit the bell notification so you can stay up to date with every single video as and when we drop them, including stuff like our live show as well. So if you're getting value from the live show, hit the like button. All right. So Timmy, you said you was looking in somewhere in areas like Haringey, yeah?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So first and foremost thing, have you identified local estate agents in the particular area where you're looking?
No, I haven't.
Okay, that's the first thing you want to do. Okay, if for example you're looking at comparable properties and you want to start getting some real good numbers together. So what you can do, okay, I'm going to say this to you really easily. First thing you can do is just Google Haringey estate agents. If you've got a specific postcode, which is really more unique, like whatever, NWX or whatever it is, then you can basically say estate agents in NW, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So depending on if you're in the West Green part of Haringey, if you're in the Hornsey part of Haringey, whatever, yeah, you can basically start targeting the estate agents in that specific niche. Now, because of obviously lockdown and stuff like that, obviously you should know that you're going to have a lot more of these agents who are not available. And by not available, what I mean is you can't walk into their branch and speak to them, but many of them will have access to calls. So what that basically means is you could still call them and get some information out of them. So what you're ideally trying to do in the specific area you're looking is you want to basically engage with 3 or 4 estate agents from that area and start asking them specific questions about properties on the specific road you've got opportunities on. So let's say, for example, we got Fairfax Road, okay, in the Haringey area. Okay, so let's say I've got a property in Fairfax Road. Let's say the property that I've got where there's a potential opportunity to buy is number 43. So I might say I've just done a Google search right now, Haringey estate agents. I've got Blackstone's estate agents, which is right at the end of the road. I've got David Key Haringey. I've got Hayne estate agents. I've got Lucas Estates Haringey, etc., etc. So let's say I just go for those 4 to start with. Now, obviously, all of their details are here, their telephone numbers here, their addresses here, etc. I can see how far or how close they are to Fairfax Road. So this is just me getting started. I'm first and foremost targeting agents that are actually in the locale of where the particular property opportunity I'm looking for is. Now, the reason I want to do that is because they will most likely have the most footfall from properties being sold in that area. Does that make sense? Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, guys, those of you in the comments, let me know if you know what I mean when I say footfall. I'll explain it just in case, but I don't want to be sharing any concepts that people don't understand. Generally, footfall is a term which is used for businesses, which means walk-in trade. So people that just walk in from the street. So if you're the kind of person who has an estate agent on the main road in Haringey, a lot of your footfall is going to be people that is from in and around that area. So if Fairfax Road is a road that goes straight onto the main road, then what you'll generally find is the estate agents on that main road would probably have sold houses on Fairfax Road before, and most likely they've probably sold them more recently than other people as well. So again, all of this stuff's quite important. So what I'd say to you, Timmy, is basically call them, and your simple question is, if I had a property on Fairfax Road, which was roughly number 45, and I had a 3 bedroom, 2 reception room, etc. It's like just basically give the basic schema of the potential property that you're talking or negotiating with the seller with. What kind of price could I basically ask for on that? Now they might say to you, oh, we can't tell you, we have to come down for evaluation. Now, estate agents, again, having been one in the past, I can tell you this, they really, 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 really like being inside of the actual house. I.e., what they mean is they want to get in there, they want to build rapport, they want to do all the things that property sourcing agents are trying to do. Okay, so because they want to do that, they're going to be very reluctant on the telephone to give you all this information. So you just have to be that kind of stonewaller kind of person, that kind of person who's like, no, but look, based on social distancing, I'm not trying to have any valuers right now. I just want to get a kind of an indication price, because if I can get an indication price, I know if you're the agency I want to work with going forward, etc, etc, etc. So that's where you start. You start from identifying the key local agents. After you get the key local agents, you have that conversation with them and try and get as much information as possible. Like I said, the first 3 you call might not be successful, i.e. they might not give you the information, or they might give you information which you feel is, it's not as credible as you want it to use. Now, if you've done everything that I share on the video on property comparables done properly, which is in the chat right now, then what you'd be able to do is you'd be able to start to measure what you've done in terms of your analysis with what they're saying to you. So for example, you mentioned at the beginning of the call that you're getting big disparity between what people are basically saying, or the comparables that are coming up. So let's say, for example, you've seen one house on the street, 3 bedroom, 2 reception, basically the same framework, sell for 500,000. Then you've seen another one sell for 600,000. Your key question is, what makes this one 100,000 more than the other one? Okay. Now the answer might be nothing. Okay. The £500,000 property might have sold to family members, and that might be why it sold 100,000 less. It might not be anything about the actual property, but the reality is you don't start by assuming that. You find that stuff out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So your job is going to be to go through that rigorous process of, first and foremost, following the UGS model that we share in that video. After you follow the UGS model, you can use some of the offline models that I speak about at the end of that video, i.e. estate agents, local surveyors, etc. But then last but not least, you want to then start looking at that information and corroborating it, saying to yourself, okay, well, these 3 estate agents are saying a similar number. They're roughly saying around the 600k. Excuse me. They're roughly saying around the 600k. The analysis I did before showed roughly the 600k, and then I had this one anomaly which was like the 500k. So I presume that 600k is kind of like around the market value. So then from there, what do I want to work with my sellers in terms of whether you want to do below market value, if that's what you want to do, or if you want to do something more creative, like looking at creative terms in order to structure, control, and then move forward with the property as well. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think you've definitely answered the question I had, because I was gonna say, if I had like, if I had like maybe 2 different agents or Zoopla saying different ranges, and it was like 10 grand difference, I guess my concern was, even if I would assume and kind of take a mid range, I mean that could be a few thousand off, and I know that homeowners sometimes, when you're given offers, if they're 2-way off, it can just seem like you're not really serious. So that's why I guess I was trying to like work out how you draw like the last conclusion. But I think from what you said, it's once you have once you have as much info as you can, I guess you just make a decision.
Yeah, that's definitely it. But you know what? Thanks for sharing that as well to me, because that alludes to something else. Like, 2 keys I'd say to you. What it sounds like you potentially need help with is not actually the measuring of the numbers, but more the negotiation side. So why do I say that? The reason I'm saying that is because from what you've basically shared, the kind of, basically, let me put it this way. If you're working with a seller, you're totally right. If you're a few thousand off, okay? But in the areas like Haringey, depending, if you're talking about like houses in Haringey, 3-4 bedroom houses, Haringey, you're going to be looking at 600-700k to buy properties in that area. Am I right?
Yeah. I mean, I was seeing between 5
and up, 500,000 and up. Yeah. All right. So this is why I bring this up. £3,000 is not a large disparity when you're talking about £500,000 property and up. £3,000 is nothing. Okay, so the reason I'm saying that to you is because I want you to understand this. £3,000 is not going to get a seller telling you, "Oh, could you get out of my house?" Or it's not going to get a seller telling you, "Come off the phone." Okay, if you're 4, 5, 10 grand off, the seller's not gonna be embarrassed to hear the kind of number you say.
Okay.
Do you get what I mean? Like 10 grand.
Okay.
When you're talking 500,000 plus, like if a house is worth 670, and I'm like, look, I think I'll be able to talk to you around 650, like that's still that's a real conversation. That's a real conversation, because 650 is not far from 670. The problem comes when your first interaction, your first engagement is shooting BMV offers. So if you've kind of worked out that 650 is like the market value, they're optimistic, like most sellers are, and want 670, 680. But then you come guns blazing saying, "Oh yeah, I'll pay you 500K. Like, that's the kind of thing where they'll be like, this guy is a character. Does that make sense? So you want to put yourself in the best position. And this is why, going back to what I was saying a moment ago, the key to really what you want to try and do is negotiate. And the key in negotiation is letting them tell you what they want. Now, and again, when I'm saying this, I'm not talking about money. It doesn't have to be about money. So with some of like my 12-month coaching clients, one of the things I talk to them about when I'm coaching them is the fact that you need to just be very creative in your negotiation. So let's say I call the seller and I say, "Listen, Mr. Seller, I've just been looking at your property. I'm absolutely interested in this property. My team's basically done some analysis and they've said that, look, roughly you're looking around 600 plus for that kind of a property." And again, here's another thing, a tip for you, Timmy, and a tip for everyone who's watching. Guys, hit the like button if you haven't hit like already. You don't have to say a number. You don't have to say a number. You can say 600 plus. You could say 500 plus. Like 600 plus means anything all the way up to 700, right? 699 is 600 plus, you know? So the point I'm making is you don't have to say a number. You can say, look, 20% above or below 600K. Like you don't have to say a number just because people generally say a number. You don't have to be a generalist. Again, this comes back to what I'm talking about when I was talking about, superior resources, normal resources versus abnormal resources. Being able to negotiate, in my opinion, is one of the best resources a person can have. Okay. And if you did not write that down and you're someone who's taking notes, you need to write that down and then hit like. Okay, being able to negotiate is one of the most superior resources that a person can have. Why? Because the ability to negotiate could get you on a call in front of a landlord, okay, or in front of a seller, and basically find out from them every single thing they want without you even saying to them anything you'd offer. So, for example, I've been in a position before where I've been told by someone, "Oh, I want 550K for my house." Okay. Now, I could return and respond to them. Again, remember what I said, guys. It's not about reacting. It's about responding. And I could respond to them. The only way I'm paying you 550 is if you throw in all the furniture in this house, your car that's parked outside, and the furniture in your actual residential home. Okay. Now, some people might think, "Oh, Samuel, like, that's a bit hard. Like, why would you say that?" The reason I'm saying that is because by me throwing that curveball at the seller now has to rethink. Okay. Now, it doesn't mean they're going to say, "Oh yeah, what would you offer me then?" But they probably would ask me that question. Well, what would you offer me then? "Oh, I'm not giving you my car. I'm not giving you, the furniture in my residential house. Come on, you're pulling my leg. What's it worth to you?" Okay. And all that does is cause them to rethink. And then I might just say to them, "Look, I don't really want to go down what's it worth to me. I'm looking to buy the property. What I'd really like for you to do is like just give me a real serious number." Okay, like a serious number. And when I say a serious number, not the kind of number where I'm going to have to ask for your car that's parked outside as well. Okay, so the point I'm making is negotiation can be a resource that allows you to leverage above the people you're working with. Okay, so don't just think, "Oh, all the houses on this street have sold for 500 to 600. I have to offer between 500 and 600. You don't have to offer anything. You can just explore. You can just be like, "Okay, Mr. Seller, what would be the number that you would need in order for you to sell on?" Okay. Simon Zucci, those of you who know Simon Zucci, he's got a great sentence that he says all the time. He says, "What's the lowest amount that you would accept and still be happy?" Okay. What's the lowest amount that you would accept and still be happy? Okay. That's Simon Zucci, guys. That's not me. But Simon says that all the time. He says when he's negotiating with sellers, that's the question he asks. What's the lowest amount you'd accept and still be happy? So I hope that's been of value for you, Timmy.
Yes, thank you. It has.
Excellent,
It has,
excellent.
Thank you.
Excellent. Great to have you on the
Thank you.
call, and look forward to catching up with you on our walkie-talkie or somewhere else in the future.
Yes, thank you.
Most welcome. All right, guys. So we're shifting into our last caller. We have caller 354, I believe it was. 054. Good evening, caller 054.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. Hi, is that Noemi?
Lovely. Hi. Yeah.
Hi, Noemi. How are you doing?
Pretty good, thank you.
Excellent,
How
excellent.
about you?
I'm really well. Thank you for asking. It's been a good day today. Been out with the children, having fun. But yeah, back to business. So, how can we help you?
I'm wondering, so just for everyone else tuning in as well, I'm starting out, I'm still in the initial phases of doing lots of calls, making offers on everything I see. And I wonder, how do I start out with two strategies that I've chosen to where one does not make me lose sight of the other, or that I don't lose focus in going after too much when you're beginning. So that's rent-to-rent HMO for me and sourcing properties for sale. How can I do both efficiently?
All right, cool. Just remind me of the two strategies again that you just said. HMO, rent-to-rent HMO and
deal sourcing and packaging.
all right, cool. So again, guys, I'm sure you all heard Noemi. Key question, amazing question. If you're dealing with the same challenge, hit like, just so you know that you're going to get the value in terms of that question/answer as well. All right, so Noemi's question in a nutshell was, look, she's just starting out, she's new in the property game, but she's interested in two different strategies that she wants to utilize both of them at the same time. The answer I'm going to give Noemi is specific to her. Okay, and I'm just saying that, guys, but it will help you if you extrapolate that information for your situation. Now, when I say specific to her, what I mean is the two specific strategies Noemi's mentioned are two strategies which are obviously unique. So if she mentioned, BRR, buy, refurbish, refinance, and if you don't know what that is, on our channel, we've got a video about that. And she mentioned, below market value BMV purchases, then I'd have a different answer. Okay. So Noemi, you've said that you're interested in property sourcing and also in HMO rent to rent. Okay. And your question/challenge is, how do you juggle/manage both of them at this current climate? If, for example, you're new and you're just starting out, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct, especially knowing I hear more and more that both are actually a great opportunity at the moment.
They are. They definitely are. All right. So here's what I would do. Okay. If I was in your predicament, the first thing I'd be doing, Noemi, is focusing on one. Okay, I wouldn't focus on both. I'd focus on one. Now, what do I mean by focus on one? You guys may have heard of the book, The 80-20 Principle. If you haven't heard of it, it's a fabulous book, and it helps break down some concepts. Now, in the 80-20 Principle, one of the things that they basically share is that, 80% of the things we do only produce 20% of our results, and 20% of the things we do actually generally tends to produce 80% of our results. Okay, so the question is, why is that important? Well, the reason that's important is because what people generally do is they try to do 50-50. Okay, I'm going to do 50 on this and 50 on that. 50% sourcing, 50% HMO rent to rent. Okay, and that's not always the best thing to do. All right, what I want to do as well, just quickly before I go on to give you a more expansive answer, Noemi, I just want to say to you guys who are watching, write the word value if you've got any value from this video so far. All right, write the word value in the chat if you've got any value from the video so far. Okay, so back to Noemi. So in terms of what you need to do moving forward, this is what I would be sharing with you to do if I was in that predicament. Okay, I'd be focusing on the strategy that financially makes the most sense to me. Okay, and for you, I would assume that's probably going to be the rent to rent. Now, the reason why is because rent to rent generates residual income. Those of you who have no idea what rent to rent is, go search our YouTube channel. You'll find videos on rent to rent. But rent to rent generally produces a residual income. That's money coming in every month. Even though it might not generate as much as a property sourcing fee, it will produce results for you on a month-to-month basis once you've secured your first, second, third. If you listened earlier on to the first call from Andrew, Andrew was saying, well, look, when he came to present at my networking event in January, you know, he was presenting in January at that networking event, having only had between 4 and 7 properties. He didn't have that many properties at that point. All right. But now he's in a position where he's got 20 properties he's controlling. Okay. And he's saying that he's been able to do that because of a very simple thing, because of the simple fact that he's basically started to identify, hold on, here's an opportunity. Now, can you, and this is why I'm going to get to why I'm saying to do it this way, but I would say firstly, focus on one. The second thing I'd say is identify the one based on your own financial scenario, i.e. what financial predicament are you trying to meet? Are you trying to get money in the bank? If it's money in the bank, go for sourcing, because that's going to generate profits for you. If you're trying to get residual income where you replace your income, then go for the rent to rent, because that's going to generate residual income for you. Okay. And obviously also you want to make sure that you're congruent in terms of your values in whichever one you're looking at. But the reason I'm not talking about that right now is because you've already shared the two strategies. So I assume you already feel congruent with both. So first thing, identify one of the strategies, which is your primary. After you identify your primary, lead with your primary. Okay. And I've given an idea of how you can identify your primary. Which financial need are you trying to meet? So after you lead with your primary, what I'd say is, especially because the two you mentioned, in my opinion, are fantastic. If you're leading with rent to rent, that puts you in a great position to be able to sell on deals, but specifically selling on rent to rent deals. Okay. And this is something a lot of people miss. I see so many people miss. Like, I ask people every single time I speak in a group, okay, who thinks property sourcing is important? Who's interested in property sourcing? And you get like 4, 5, maybe 10, 20 people's hand go up in a room of 100, 200 people. And I always think to myself, like, how can only 4 or 5 people put up their hand in a room of 200? And then I'll add some information. I'll say, well, guys, do you know whatever you're trying to do, whether it's below BRR, buy, refurbish, refinance, whether it's below market value or acquisitions, whether it's lease options, whether it's anything, exchange with delay completion, it doesn't matter what strategy you're trying to do. Any strategy you're trying to do starts with property sourcing. Yesterday, I was on the online pin meeting, you know, for Canary Wharf and all the other meetings. The main speaker said the exact same thing. He said property sourcing, the beginning stuff, the sourcing, the appraisal, the securing is the place where money is made. That's the most important thing of any strategy. And he's a developer, developing 8 projects. They've developed over 3,000 homes in the last 10, 20 years. So the point I'm making is, people who have the experience understand that sourcing is the key, but the key is not to lead necessarily with sourcing. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see people make. And, you know, in our program, our online program, I talk about this all the time. I do not encourage people, even though I train people, coach people, teach people a lot about property sourcing, I don't encourage people to lead with property sourcing. Okay. I always encourage them to lead with the strategy that's going to open up the door for them to sell on deals to other people. And there's various reasons why I do that. And yeah, if anyone's interested in that, feel free to ask and I'll let you know. But that's what I'd say to you, Noemi. Choose one, make that your 80% strategy, choose the other, allow that to be your 20% strategy, focus on the 80% strategy. Okay. Use your time, your skills, your resources for the 80% strategy. So if that's rent to rent for you, focus on rent to rent, and the deals you find which don't work for you, sell those deals on. That will start helping you get experience in sourcing and selling deals that you don't want, or sourcing and selling deals as a property sourcing agent. Guys, if you got value from that answer, write the word value in the comments. Let me see if you got value from that response. So Noemi, is that helpful for you?
Yes, that makes sense. That was that definitely makes sense. It's low-hanging fruit.
I like that. All right. Any key takeaways you want to share with the people that are watching today?
I think it resonates very well with what I've been thinking intuitively as well, and it just really helps confirm and then putting my thoughts in order on where do I focus. That just makes sense. Sorry, I don't have a huge answer. It
cool.
Totally resonates well.
That's cool. You added a key takeaway. Love that. All right, cool. So last but not least, Noemi, shout out. Just tell people who you are, what you're doing in property. Yeah, and I guess where they can connect with you as well.
Awesome. Thank you very much for that. So I started training in property last year. Went through a lot of different training materials, and right now actually I'm working with Samuel that is coaching me to start seeing different things differently as well as he does. So rent-to-rent HMO is the strategy I've actually focused on most. So looking for deals in and around London. Would be great to connect on Facebook. My Facebook is Frank Noemi, so that's me and my partner. We have an account together. So it would be great to connect with anyone that is looking at HMOs, other rent-to-rent SA options, anyone that is sourcing rent-to-rent HMOs themselves, or that is active in the London property community. It would be fantastic to connect.
Excellent, amazing. Thank you for the share. And last but not least, when you do jump off the call, Noemi, just throw in the chat your details, whatever your email address or your handle, your at Frank Noemi for Facebook, so people can find you as well. All right, Noemi, great speaking to you, and I hope you got value from the call. Looking forward to catching up in the future.
Thank you, definitely.
Yeah, guys, take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, guys, so 3 calls, quite a few calls today. Action-packed. If I can, is that another caller coming through again? Give me one moment, guys. Okay, no, it's not another caller. All right, cool. So 3 calls, action packed, like always. So guys, what I want to do is I want to share with you guys 2 things just to help you guys move forward in your property journey. If this is your absolute first time in engaging with the Impact Show, if it's your first time, or even if it's not your first time engaging with Samuel ICanWin and our community, what I want you to do is go and get the sourcing blueprint. You can do that by going to the link www.impactproperties.co.uk/sourcing blueprint. Okay, and it's not case sensitive, so lowercase, uppercase, you choose and it will work. Okay, impactproperties.co.uk/sourcing blueprint. Now that is a free ebook, absolutely free. You pay nothing, you get the ebook emailed to you, and that ebook will break down to you the 4 core areas of property sourcing in order to help you move forward in your property journey, because that's what we're about, that's what we want to do, and that's how we're gonna help you in your property journey. Now, the second value add today, okay, the second value add today. Many of you may not know this, but Noemi, who just jumped on the call, was one of the people who I recently had a coaching call, and she encouraged me to help people understand more how they can creatively control properties in the current climate. So again, a big thank you to Noemi. Those of you who are on now watching, write in the comments, thank you, Noemi, because after Noemi's coaching call with me, where she shared and encouraged me to basically explain to people how to creatively control properties a lot more in this current climate, we decided to put on a webinar, brand new, fresh content. Now, if there's anyone who's watching this now who's been on the webinar we did last Monday, just let us know with one word how the webinar was for you and how much value you got out of the webinar. Now, in the description of this video, you can basically register to be a part of the webinar we're going to be running on Monday. That webinar, I can just tell you right now, is going to be value-packed, action-packed. Okay, it's going to be an absolutely phenomenal webinar. We're going to be talking about creatively controlling properties in this current climate. Okay, I'll say that again, creatively controlling properties in this current climate. That webinar is taking place on Monday, the 11th of May at 8 p.m. Okay, and as they used to say, be there or be square. Okay, so if you're interested in moving forward in your property journey in this current climate, and you want to be able to know how to actually take full advantage in this current climate, I would encourage you to go and register for that webinar. It is going to be an absolutely fantastic webinar with so much value. Okay, I've got Remy's comment in here. She says it was a great webinar. Thank you, Remy, for sharing. All right, guys, so that webinar last week was amazing, and we're going to basically be sharing how to take creative control in this current climate. So the team have just put the link in the description. Feel free to take advantage of that and jump in, register for the webinar Monday at 8 p.m. We're going to be sharing how you can take creative control in this current climate. Guys, like I said, we do this for you guys. We want to help you guys move forward in your property journey, and the best way for us to basically do that is to add more and more and more value to people in the community. So without further ado, I'm going to be out, but before I go, let me encourage you to go watch this video right here, the video that I said we were talking about earlier, which is why they're rich and why they're poor, and also the video just below if you want to get even more value. Now, I got Mrs. ICanWin saying, Prince, I know I had a question, and my man Prince in the comments, I cannot let you go without answering your question. So let me try and jump on that real quick. Let me see if I can jump on that real quick. Prince, he's in good hands here. He's in good hands. He's been taken care of. All right, so let's see Prince's comment. I'm just running through the chat real quick. Prince, please, what can you do at this point if you have a tenant in an HMO who's exhibiting an abusive behavior towards other tenants? He'd like to get rid of him, but with eviction suspended, what can he do to make other tenants feel safe? All right, cool. So 2 things I've got for you, Prince, and I apologize for missing that. First thing I'll do is follow the law of the land. All right, so what do I mean by that? If this gentleman, if this person is portraying any kind of negative or any kind of dangerous behavior in the sight of other tenants or around other tenants, take full advantage of the police. Like, take full advantage of calling the police and letting the police know. That's first and foremost. I'm sure you've done that already, because I know you've got a portfolio of HMOs, and I know we've worked together before, so I know you know what you're doing. So the first thing I'd say to you is take full advantage of the law of the land. At this current climate, police are still working. Police will still show up. That's the first thing. Second thing, the technical side, the property side. In regards to the current climate that we're currently in, okay, there has been a change. Again, it's another change I could have mentioned up on the whiteboard. One of the changes that has taken place is that evictions are no longer being able to be executed after 2 months of late payments. This is basically what the previous Section 8 rules were about. Now you have to wait for a minimum of 3 months before you can serve an eviction notice. What I would encourage you to do is, if you want to use a Section 21, okay, if you have cause for eviction, what I would do is I would serve that notice now, because if that gentleman has exhibited behavior that's unruly, behavior that basically warrants him to be evicted, serve the notice now. And when you serve the notice, make him aware that due to the current climate, there's a specific time period that has to be adhered to before you're going to be able to actually evict him, or before you're actually going to be able for his case to end up in court. Okay, but I would say serve the eviction notice as soon as possible. This is something that we can potentially chat about offline. Feel free to message me. I know you got my private credentials, so feel free to message me, and we could talk about that further in terms of how you strategize around that. But the key is those 2 things. 1, take advantage of the law of the land. Let the police go and see him. Let the police engage with him if he's doing the wrong thing. That's first and foremost. And the second thing is to make sure that you serve the notice as soon as you can. Don't wait. There's no reason to wait. Serve the notice as soon as you can, and then in the right time, let what's going to happen. All right, guys, so if that being said, like I said, go watch this video, why they're rich, why they're poor, as it pertains to property investing. It's Samuel ICanWin. I'm signing out, and I'll see you guys on the next one.